Thought you might have been turning up with a black eye this morning, a bit of a shiner.
They did pretty well behind it.
I think this will be in the top 10 goals of the year, regardless of what we see coming.
There is potentially some movement at the Wanderers, Annabel.
I think Samba is bringing to the Wellington attack a bit of the spearhead.
This is great play from Canberra. Hawkins, and here is Sasha Grove! Oh, fantastic! Canberra United get their first win against Melbourne Victory in 8 years and 313 days.
Samba stops, turns, find the pass, off the crossbar. Good no, to Manaya Elliott. Dangerous delivery, Otto got a head to it in right place, right time. So the run continues for the Wellington Phoenix. No wins against Melbourne City.
And cross it, and the header from Jansen! Huge away result and exactly the response they were searching for.
Eunice able to steal it away and saved by Robertson. Wanderers must think they're cursed at this point. They still can't score in the Sydney derby. Stalemates, neither will leave satisfied.
Rasmussen in the clear. Rasmussen for her second. Tamar Levin from the bench and onto this score sheet. Eliza Hamilton on her debut in front of friends and family. It's back home and back to home comforts for the Central Coast Mariners. Comprehensive victors in this first F3 derby.
A dubbed hoodoo round on the show last week, and there's still a few teams with the monkey on their back. Hello and welcome to Dub Zone. I'm Amy Duggan, and back again we have A-Leagues commentator Teo Pellizzeri, and returning after a massive F3 derby win, Annabel Martin from the Mariners. Welcome.
Thank you. Basically a regular now.
Yes, a couple of ginger ninjas on the panel for today. You guys make a great pair, but let's talk about your moment of the week.
It's got to be a teammate of mine, Eliza Hamilton. Been on our list the whole last year, finally gets her debut. Comes on and scores and gets an assist in front of her home crowd and Academy product. So, yeah, stoked for her and thought she did so well.
Able to ice the game in favour of the Central Coast Mariners and real composure as well, Annabel. I mean, you wouldn't know it was her debut, and as you said, in the squad all of last season must have helped.
Yeah, I think she's just worked so hard. Someone I come up against a lot in training as a winger fullback, and just really appreciate the way she goes about it. Such an athlete, such a dynamic player as well. And yeah, as a teammate, it's just exciting. I think the energy really lifted when she came on. Like the hype was there, and we were all buzzing for her. Well,
speaking of buzzing, Canberra United first win away against Melbourne Victory since December 2016, and Victory had gone 12 unbeaten in a row against Canberra. Huge breakthrough for them. They did start slow, but I don't think any of us really abandoned them. They had the loss away to Adelaide. It seems to have been the turning point for their season, and they are building to something very promising. And when we break down the footage, I think there's a maybe sneaky goal of the season contender in there.
Ooh, there you go. A little bit of hustle from Canberra, and your moment of the week, of course, the win from Canberra, not a specific moment in the match, Teo, but I did pick out a specific moment, and it was Erin Healy finally finding the back of the net this season for Adelaide. Now, she was prolific last year. I think 8 goals last year, and we're 6 rounds in, and Adelaide's really struggled up front. But to see the quality of Erin banging that one in from outside the box was my moment of the week.
Yeah, she's such a handy player, especially when she gets out into space like that. She can hit it from anywhere. She definitely did to us last season as well.
Well, let's talk about this season, and we'll kick it off with the F3 derby. The Mariners holding on to that guardrail for their 4th straight win in this derby. One hand on the trophy already?
Yeah, I mean, something personally, a game I really look forward to is the F3 derby. And as a team and as a club, it's one of our goals for this season is to be able to retain the trophy. But yeah, half the job's done, and look forward to going to Newcastle and getting both hands on it.
Got to say, Annabel, for a lot of this first half, and here's the equaliser right on the last 5 minutes before half-time, I felt as though the team was frustrated. Did you feel as though you were progressing not just towards the equaliser, but towards cracking Newcastle the way you did to score 3 more in the second half?
Yeah, no, I don't think we were frustrated with the way that we were playing at all. I think we were a bit frustrated to concede the goal, but in saying that, I think it showed a lot of resilience from the group to be able to bounce back after coming off 2 1-0 losses. I think to get 4 behind them and just keep going. I think our process worked, our game plan was working. It was just getting that final product, which we did in the end.
For you personally, pretty full-on game. It was a derby. You seem to have lived the edict of going out and putting your body on the line in this one. How did you pull up?
Yeah, a bit sore Monday morning. The neck was, pretty tight. But, I mean, it's a proud moment. We're a proud club. We want to come out there and be fighting for it. A little straight
Chico's elbow in the face. I actually thought you might have been turning up with a black eye this morning, a bit of a shiner.
No, they did pretty well behind
You
it.
scrubbed up okay.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a false start to the weekend as well, obviously. Saturday, change in circumstance with the weather being so hot and then finding out you're playing on Sunday. How does the team react to something like that?
Yeah, I mean, we all got to the game and we're hoping to play. Unfortunately, it was too hot and there were fires around, which my heart goes out to those that are affected by it. No doubt the coast community will rally around them. But for us, it was, next thing. It happened to us a couple times last year against Brisbane. I know we had to stay overnight and play the extra day. And then in the elimination final against Canberra, we had to come back on a Monday and play. So I think it's something you just control what you can control. And for us, we're playing tomorrow now, go back home and prep ourselves and get back out there.
And obviously did a fantastic job doing that preparation. Izzy Gomez, absolutely in everything, Teo.
Izzy Gomez has been so creative this season, has really been such a forward-thinking force. She might have broken into this league as a defensive midfielder, but she is now in the top 5 players for shot-creating actions in the league. Are you noticing how different it is? Is it instructional? Is it just the natural evolution of her game? What can you tell us about what's different about Izzy Gomez this season?
I think it's just the role that she's been asked to play. I think if you play her in that defensive midfield position, then she becomes that more consistent and she is quite disciplined in the way that she plays. But when you let her have this freedom and run forward, she does such a good job of finding those pockets, especially against Jets who play a 3-back. We had our 3 attackers obviously up there, and then she kind of sat in behind the midfield and was just able to pick out those pockets. And I mean, she's so deadly when she's on the ball and always makes a good decision. And she was, phenomenal, I thought.
A tough night for the Jets, though, Teo, and it doesn't get any easier because they take on Brisbane Raw. Yeah,
and I'm worried for the Jets. The 4 goals they conceded, some of them just seem to be, momentum rolling downhill. And as we know, Brisbane went to Newcastle last season and scored 6. Momo Hayashi with one of those amazing swerving free kicks among them. And, of course, she's back from suspension now. Played her first game at the weekend. So Newcastle won't have the greatest memories of when Brisbane come to town, and I really think that they will have a tough week on the training track because they were defying my expectations. They're the worst defence in the league, most goals conceded last season. First 3 games looking quite promising, but I think, unfortunately, the Newcastle that maybe I was expecting turned up to the F3 derby at the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't the team I was expecting to hit the pitch either. You mentioned Momo Hayashi there, and it was great to see her back on the pitch for the first time this season, up against Adelaide with the Raw travelling to Cooper's Stadium. Home ground advantage didn't do them any good, but Hayashi ended up wearing the armband after an injury to Tamika Yallop. Yeah,
so Momo started at centre-back in this game, which is fascinating. Brisbane have got such depth in midfield, but this is towards the end of the first half. Tamika Yallop pulls up short, knows that it's a soft tissue injury. We have checked in with the Raw. Scans did take place on Monday, but they have not released the outcome of those scans as of the time of us recording on Tuesday morning. So I'm sure it'll be publicised, but it's not just about the Raw, it's about the Asian Cup, it's about another injury. And Amy, the emotions boiled over for Tamika Yallop, understandably so, because it's not just about missing the games for Brisbane. It's about now a very short runway to get into that Matildas Asian Cup squad. Yeah,
it sure is, and we'll keep our fingers crossed for Meeks there. The Raw, though, did cope all right in her absence. Of course, Grace Kulamu and Dutch import Bente Jensen finding the back of the net. What is it about Brisbane that you've liked seeing this year, Annabel?
I think just they're so dangerous on the counter-attack. They go with speed, they've got pace up front, and they've got so many different avenues to go. Like you said, Jensen getting on the end of 2 here and Fryer putting ones in the box, whereas last year I think, you want to take away that predictability of yourselves, and, they're very dangerous up top for sure.
I thought that Brisbane didn't have to be brilliant to win this game. They took their chances when they presented, and It was a real credit to Kaya Stevenson coming on for Tameki Yallop. But you can't replace 144 caps, right? You can't replace that leadership. But in terms of the actual midfield productivity, I mean, Stevenson's only played 144 minutes this season, Zara Kruger 101. So they have two players there who have been regular starters in previous seasons, ready to go. And I feel as though they can brace themselves, whether it's a month or 6 weeks or however long Yallop is out. They've got some pretty good replacements to step right in.
And so let's talk about Adelaide's performance, because we saw Erin Healy smack that banger into the top corner, Teo. But apart from that, not too many chances. And defensively, there are some big issues there.
Well, let's talk about their attack first, because this was a situation here for Erin Healy. Great goal, but it stood alone in a game where Adelaide only had 2 shots on target, and the second shot on target was the literal last kick of the game before the referee blew the full-time whistle. Only 0.3 XG created for the entire match. And the reason for it is they abandoned the middle of the pitch. They ran themselves into trouble against Brisbane Roar's fullbacks on both sides of the pitch. They had more final third entries, Adelaide, more possession. They spent more time down in the attacking half, but Brisbane stifled them. It was an excellent tactical setup to force them wide and then starve Erin Healy, who barely touched the ball in the middle. And that's why they want to prevent that from happening. They couldn't prevent one moment of brilliance, but they weren't punished any further than that.
So using maybe the wrong strategy in this game, you think, Teo, using the wide channels instead of going through the middle perhaps. But they also brought in, attacking talent up front, and we saw them click last year, and they just haven't been able to do that this year.
They need to find a way to provide the ball to Erin Healy, those runs through the centre of midfield, which she made characteristic last season. She's just not getting enough supply. She's drifting out to the wing. She's drifting deep into the defensive half to come and get the ball. I mean, Annabel, does a game plan to face Adelaide United have a lot of time put into Erin Healy? Is it the specific marking instructions for certain players, or do you feel like it's just a team-wide consciousness of where she does roam? Because she does love to go wherever she can to influence the game.
Yeah, I mean, we played them in round one, and it was definitely something we looked at. Obviously, such a quality player, and something, like you said, you really want to limit her impact on the game. And I think, yeah, then if she does start dropping deeper, then that's probably good for you, because she's away from goal, and that's where she's most dangerous. So sounds like Brisbane really played into their strengths there.
Well, Brisbane had no problems scoring goals. Bente Jensen getting a double. Here's what she had to say after the match.
We want to fight and win games, and I think at times we played really good football as well. But in moments when we don't play as good as we want to, we keep fighting, and I think that's really important to get the 3 points.
And how about your goal celebration? I love it. Yeah, eating goals for breakfast by the looks of things. You practice that at home?
No, it's a little inside joke with our kit manager. So yeah, she told me in halftime, and then if I score again, I need to do the celebration. So it was for her.
Oh, more to come on that celebration. At first I thought she was putting it in the mixer, but now I'm hearing all sorts of things, maybe cooking, who knows. We will find out as she joins Kennedy White on top of the Golden Boot standings, both with 5 goals. And speaking of goals, kicking some off the field, Nalin Mastou, welcome to the panel.
Thanks, Amy. Good to be back. And Annabel, given you're back on, we thought it would be the perfect excuse to have a little chat about one of the rising stars in your team. I'm talking about Tiana Fuller. We saw her step up last year, just as a 16-year-old last season, I should say, in that grand final. Took the first penalty, and I think from then on we all knew she was something special. We actually chatted to her in pre-season to hear a little bit more about how her love of football came about and the one moment that changed everything.
And it's a big moment for the Mariners, because Tiana Fuller, the 16-year-old, is making her debut. She's coming on for Annalise Rasmussen Fuller, a junior Matilda.
It was amazing to get my debut at such a young age, and coming on the field, we were down 1-0, and to score on my first touch, it was something that I've never thought would happen, but amazing, and yeah, it's a great experience.
Ball delivered in, Pennick is there, as is Evans. Fuller! The 16-year-old in her Ninja A-League debut equalises for the Mariners.
I was was definitely very nervous. We had 30 minutes left in the game and I got the call up to halfway. Obviously very nervous, scared, but once I got on the field, the cross come in and it just landed like right in front of me and I just knew what I had to do.
How many games do you know roll like this?
I went to a lot of Sydney-based games when I was younger. From a very young age, I was excited and I was like to Dad at games, that's going to be me, that's going to be me. So yeah, something I've been looking forward to.
Out to Fuller, Barry's caught, and Fuller takes a strike. Fuller off the post and into the net.
Soccer was the one that I drifted to every day. If I had to choose, it would be like soccer. So yes, definitely soccer was the one.
She took a chance. She gets her third of the season.
Just love the game, the competition, and meeting and playing with some amazing players and people.
Well, she pushes it into the path of the 16-year-old Fuller. What a campaign she is having.
Awesome to hear a little bit more about Tiana's story and making it into her first pro season. And we didn't see her on the team sheet this week, given her international duties. But Annabel, I did want to hear from you about how you think she's sort of coping with her second season, because she did come into the league with a lot of high expectations. People likened her to Sam Kerr. So how do you think a youngster like that has coped with a lot of the pressure?
Yeah, I mean, she was deadly in front of goal last season. 6 goals in her debut season as a 16-year-old is amazing. She's working really, really hard in training and she's such a good kid and a really good player, and she's a really important player for us this season especially. So I'm excited to see her add more to her arsenal, more to her game, and keep developing as a player and as a person, and yeah, hopefully get a few more goals from her soon.
There's still so many levels to her game that she's going to add, so hopefully more match minutes this season. Now, some exciting news we heard earlier this week is that the 2026 Sydney Super Cup will be taking place in August, which means our Ninja A-League stars will be facing WSL giants Chelsea. Yep, that means we've got Sam Kerr and Ellie Carpenter coming back to where it all started for them in the Ninja A-League. And Amy, I wanted to hear from you about just how big you think this could be in terms of a spectacle, but also shows a real appetite for women's football.
Yeah, it absolutely does, and what a team to be bringing out here in Chelsea and featuring a couple of Aussie stars. And I just hope that, well, there'll be an A-League All-Stars side, so what a great opportunity for young players to stand up, play a great season, get picked for that, get up on a world stage in effect against a team, a quality team like this. They'll both be in pre-season at that stage. The A-League teams will be, heading into their pre-season then. So it'll be a great chance for them to get out there, show their wares against top-class international opponents, and hopefully we can sell it out.
Totally. And Teo, I mean, we saw how big it was against Arsenal facing some of the stars. This is going to be a real test, isn't it, for a lot of our players?
Well, our players, Annabel, would you like to make the All-Stars? What do you think it's got to, it is in August, so kind of it will be a lot of players heading into a new season, some distance away. So it falls at an interesting time, doesn't it?
Yeah, I hope they still value the players that have a really good season this year and value those that might be a little bit underrated and give them a chance to play against some of the best. It's such an exciting opportunity that no doubt any player would put their hand up for, coming to pre-season early and just straight into it, I think.
2026 looking so good for Aussie football, and that's off the back of the Men's World Cup as well, so a lot of momentum there. Now, let's turn our attention to a bit of the Ninja A-League action, what caught our eye. It was a 0-0 draw in that Sydney derby, but doesn't mean the fans in the stands weren't having fun, and frankly, the family of some of the players. We saw Sydney FC backup goalkeepers Elise Opatizano. Her family unveiled a massive life-size banner of her face, which we love to see.
I'm sorry, but if that's life-size, she should be in goal.
That is the goal. That's awesome to see. And you know what? We also saw with the Mariners, you picked this up, actually, one of the players posting it up on their Instagram story, of your teammates, Peter Trimmis and Izzy Gomez. A fan gave them a shirt of like a spin-off of Guzman and Gomez. That is elite. Whichever fan made that, shout out to you. That is awesome.
And the little caption there is cooking defences daily. So clearly a big fan of the work of your two teammates there. But Annabel, not uncommon. The Mariners got great fans, very creative fans as well. I've found over the journey, really good culture of being able to make the players, stand out and hero them.
Yeah, I think, we've got the best fans in the business, a bit biased. But, I remember a few years ago, Ash Irwin, an old teammate of mine, had a big banner up in the crowd, and it was the Liberty A-League butcher, because she chopped all the attackers' legs. And I think we're sitting on like 4 or something yellow cards in the first 5 rounds. But, it was great. They're such good fans, and we're really lucky to have them. And like you saw, such a good spectacle for the game.
And hopefully there's more on show for the AFC Women's Asian Cup, which is fast approaching, and they actually revealed their first ever mascot for the competition. Meet the fire horse Nara. Now, if you're wondering why they've picked a horse, it's because 2026 in the lunar calendar is the year of the horse, and she symbolises all the courage young women and girls embody, particularly in sports. Annabel, when it comes to mascots, I don't think it gets any more iconic than Marvin. Do you think he's got one over Noah?
Yeah, I think so. All the kids seem to love him as well. Our assistant coach, Ollie Bozanich's little daughter, just obsessed. I think she tried to high-five him probably 20 times. And he did it every single time and just, amazed by him. So it's always good to have mascots at the game.
Well, there was Nutmeg, Tazuni, and now Nara. Good luck to all the collectors out there, and thank you so much for your time on the desk today, Nalin.
Thanks, Amy.
All right, back to the Ninja A-League and back to the home of the Matildas, where Melbourne Victory played host to Canberra United. The result going Canberra United's way for the first time in a very long time. Sasha Grove finding the back of the net. Let's hear from her post-match now.
It was a crazy game. It was a really gritty game from us. As you know, at the start of the season, we went down. Well, we scored first and then we ended up losing the game and we conceded first. But the girls were absolutely sensational. Honestly, I feel like I was really crap, but with the calibre of players I have here and just how much belief we have as a squad, we knew this was going to be a really tough game, but it couldn't feel any better because we just put in the effort and we just grinded that one out, and we're going home with a win, which is even greater. And always says our midfielders, they're absolute ballers. Our whole team are ballers, and just that fluidity up top in the middle of the park and even at the back. We're comfortable and confident when it comes to our build-up, and moves like those, and we can finish them with a goal. That's what we're all about. So our eyes are set on getting that 9 points in the 3 games. So 3 down, 6 to go.
3 down, 6 to go indeed, Sasha. And if you can get on the score sheet every time you play crap, I think you'll be pretty happy with that. Canberra now turns their attention to Sydney, of course, a midweek this week for that make-up match, and then to Melbourne City on Saturday. But that 3-1 win against Melbourne Victory, pretty iconic, Teo.
It was a great win and a really good performance. So they're 1-0 down to an early goal, and then this deflects in off Nano Sasaki. Didn't know a great deal about it, but Beth Gordon unmarked at the edge of the area, able to score. Canberra turned this around because they hunted the ball. This is a brilliant passing move. I think this will be in the top 10 goals of the year, regardless of what we see come, because if Canberra can do this once, they can recreate this and replicate it and score goals like this throughout the rest of the season. That is the rest of the league on notice right there.
Tactically, one of the things that they did in that goal, Teo, was to actually take a couple of steps back before they received the ball and actually give themselves the space on the outside of the defender, and, working it so well up the sideline to then create the goal-scoring chance.
Fascinating you use the word space, because this was a game played in space. Melbourne Victory only won 5 tackles for the entire game. Canberra won 15. So it was a fairly bruise-free encounter, you might say, with the teams willing to give each other space to attack and counter on each other, but Canberra did hunt the ball more, and I just feel like they were up for this and wanting to prove a point. There's so much to be excited about with this Canberra team. Anthony Jagranek has got this side, I think, with the right mix of pace, defensive accountability, midfield hunger and bite. I mean, they are going places.
Annabel, I wanted to just touch on a couple of the defensive things that Victory didn't do as well as they normally do. 2 balls going in off deflections. It's really tough as a defender to be chasing back towards your goal line and have a ball coming at you.
Yeah, I think that's really unfortunate for Morrison. I think if you're Victory, you're looking at that and you think, I'm pretty unlucky, whereas if you're Canberra, you're probably thinking, hey, we created our own luck today and we deserve that win, which, when you say 5 tackles, that's pretty crazy, knowing Melbourne Victory, every time we play them, it's a very physical battle. It's a demanding game. They don't tend to give you a lot of space, so it is surprising, but no doubt that they'll have to bounce back, and they will. 3
wins and 3 losses, Teo, for Victory. It's more losses than they had all last season.
Exactly. They only lost 2 games for the entire home and away season. Don't get me wrong, I still think Victory is very good. The problem in this league is Melbourne City holds you to a near impossible standard if you want to win the premiership. There's no reason they can't make the finals, they can win a grand final, but everyone wants to qualify for the AFC Women's Champions League. Everyone wants to finish top now that it's a proper home and away season. And Melbourne Victory, I just wonder, Amy, do they need to rethink how they attack? Between Holly Furphy and Rachel Lowe, they have had 28 shots this season for no goals. They are both right near the top of XG accumulated for players that haven't scored. Kennedy White, however, sharpshooter, 2 goals better than her XG so far this season. I wonder, do they actually need to be a little bit more Kennedy White conscious or start to really think about the decisions they make instead of peppering on goal?
Or just finish. Just point blank finish in front of goal. Holly Furphy there inside the 6-yard box. You've got to make those, and Kennedy White as well, put one straight over the bar. So you've just got to make those chances count. Speaking of chances that counted, unfortunately, of Kayla Morrison turning one into the back of her own net in that loss. Let's hear from her now post-match.
We've had good weeks, we've had bad weeks. It's just inconsistent at the moment. And just, trying to get around each other and be winners, not losers.
A few players still on the sidelines at the moment that you're hoping to welcome back. Are you optimistic that those players, the return of them, might bring that consistency that you guys are searching for?
Yeah, definitely. I think even just the competition at training will light a fire under everyone's butts, and people aren't going to, walk out every day to training thinking their spot's there for the weekend. They're going to have to earn it now.
And that they will as they face Adelaide this weekend. Always a great game, Adelaide United and Melbourne Victory. But for Canberra, as we said, taking on Sydney midweek this week. And Sydney will be looking to do a whole lot better than they did on the weekend in their scoreless draw against the Wanderers. Teo, you were commentating this match. A fair few chances that probably should have found the back of the net.
Yeah, both teams would have been very disappointed not to have scored in this game given what shook out over the course of the match. But the one thing Sydney FC can point to is they haven't actually conceded since round 1. 4 clean sheets in a row. So, again, Melbourne City are such a high bar to chase in the league. Sydney want to win every trophy, but as far as consolidating, getting back into the top 6, great save by Tiana Robertson here to right at the end to deny Talia Younis, but as far as getting back into the top 6 and returning to being a potential grand final contender, Sydney are doing a lot right. The problem is with every 0-0 draw, and they've had 2 of them so far this season, they lose ground on the race to win the premiership.
And there is potentially some movement at the Wanderers, Annabel. Rumour has it Chloe Berryhill, formerly known as Chloe Lagazo, might have signed with the red and the black. It's a pretty big pickup.
Yeah, very big pickup. Hopefully she doesn't play this weekend when we play her. But, welcome her back to the A-League. She's such a quality player and such a leader of this league. So I'm excited if she comes back, maybe the week after, though.
Yeah, well, you've got until December the 29th to get your final signings in. There are some clubs who've had injuries. Of course, if you put a player on the long-term injury list, if you can use that salary to then go and recruit someone else. It's harder than it sounds because, it's a new player, it's potentially new accommodation if they're coming in from overseas or interstate, but there's still a few weeks left for clubs to tinker with their rosters and get it 100%.
So might see a little bit more movement yet. You mentioned Melbourne City and how flawless they've been. That form continued against the Wellington Phoenix on the weekend. Last gasp winner to Rebecca Stott coming off this free kick there. You can see it in the 85th minute, Teo. Close but no cigar for Bev Priestman's side.
Yeah, look, they put up a pretty good fight, Wellington, but they will look back at the defending of this set piece and wonder how it happened. And you know who will be really annoyed? Melbourne Victory, because are they sub-licensing the idea of an American centre-back heading to a Kiwi centre-back for an assist? Because Kayla Morrison and Claudia Bunge, they had that copyrighted, but no, Melbourne City are now replicating that. Look, City did what they always do. This was perhaps them at their most City-est, 580 passes for that one shot on target.
Which came off a free kick.
But here's the thing, they're 30 home and away games undefeated. At some point, it is not a glitch, it's a feature. This is Melbourne City. This is what they do.
And hard to play against, Annabel.
Yeah, for sure. But out of anyone, I think if you're defending a wide free kick, you got to pick up Rebecca Stott. She's so good in the air. But yeah, if you're Wellington, you're probably disappointed with that for sure. If that's the only shot on target, despite how much Melbourne City take of that ball, I think they really starve you of that. So every time you do get on it, you feel like you have to do something and you've got to do something because you don't have much of that ball. So, I mean, what they do is tried and true, but it's hard for any other team. They've just got so many quality players to maintain possession for so long.
I thought the Phoenix did a great job for the first 85 minutes of the match, and just that lapse in concentration there defending cost them really dearly in the end. But a positive to come out of this one was Samba getting back on the field, Teo, and there were some magical moments, including one in about the 56th minute of the game, but first time on the field since round 2.
And looking pretty sharp, obviously very heavily bandaged, and as the main attacking outlet, Melbourne City certainly had an entire defence ready to shut her down. But I think Samba is bringing to the Wellington attack a bit of the spearhead that they need. Young Pia Vlock has contributed well. Brooke Nunn hits the crossbar here. That could have been an assist for Samba. And I think the Phoenix at that point knew they should have been 1-0 up. And Samba did take a knock and leave the game, but hopefully the extent to which you see that right knee bandaged there isn't a harbinger of worse things to come. And she is going to build her minutes back up to potentially full 90s. Annabel, how excited are you about playing the Phoenix and about playing against a team coached by Bev Priestman and a team that brings the Nepalese diaspora out everywhere they go?
Yeah, I mean, we played them in pre-season, and I'm very impressed with what she's got them doing. I think they're going to be a really tough team to beat, and only getting players back must be frustrating to be back out, hopefully not with another injury, but they start to build up. But yeah, no, they're probably disappointed not to come away with at least a point, I think, against City. But, yeah, again, City doing what City do best.
And, of course, the distance derby, Wellington going over to Perth, where there is a Nepalese diaspora, according to the census, of more than 4,000 people living in Australia, either Nepalese heritage or having come to Australia from Nepal. So, Sam Kerr Football Centre, could turn into a potential Wellington home game if the Glory fans don't show out and support their team.
It could be. Thank you so much, Teo. What I want to check in on now is your team of the week. No Samba in this, but Rebecca Stott, who scored in that match, did make it into your more traditional setup this week.
Yeah, gone for a 4-4-2 after the feedback last time. Look, Melbourne City, Stotty's the only player I've got in. Tiana Robertson was Mighty Mouse between the sticks. Just absolutely amazing in this game. Raw's fullbacks, tactical A+, not just Medwin with the assist. Ashlyn Miller at right back, brilliant. Sian Fryer an assist as well. Grace Krilamu, great goal. Bethany Gordon was the engine room for Canberra in their win. Kirsty Fenton is having an amazing season. As soon as the Asian Cup's over, surely into the Matildas mix. Izzy Gomez is Izzy Gomez. And Annabel, I know that there weren't enough Mariners last time you were on the show. Peter Trimmis, brilliant, and Annalise Rasmussen with a double. It just shows how mentally tough she is to get trapped offside 5 times and not let it throw her off her game. Comes away with 2 goals. Her age, games played and goals scored. She is on the runway to have a breakout season. I'm talking double figures, 10+. I am so excited for your teammate Annalise Rasmussen.
Yeah, like you said, Tay, I think that showed such good maturity from her to not lose her head and to stay in the game. And as a striker, all you need is that one moment and take it. And she did twice and did really well. But, I was so impressed with the way that she was able to maintain her head and keep going. I think that's the hardest thing to do sometimes. So, yeah, she's such an exciting prospect, and I think you forget how young she is. Well, I do, because how tall she is, but she's still got a lot of growth in her game and such a physical presence for us, and yeah, we're excited to have her back out there.
A lot of potential, that is for sure, and a lot of potential for teams to pick up points. Let's take a look at the ladder after round 6. It's a little deceiving. Melbourne Victory sitting on top, having played all 6 matches on 9 points. Brisbane and Sydney matching that, but with games in hand. And then that logjam, you see it. City, Canberra, Jets and Mariners on 6 and 7, all within 3 points of the top of the ladder. It's Perth struggling down the bottom there.
Everyone's playing for second at the moment until Melbourne City lose. I repeat, 30 home and away games since they last lost.
Well, Melbourne City, of course, you'll have to wait until Saturday afternoon to watch them up against Canberra United. But before that, Canberra backing up against Sydney FC on Wednesday for that make-up fixture from the international round. Perth Glory and Wellington Phoenix, a nice late one for your Friday evening. Saturday, the Jets, Melbourne Victory and Canberra United all at home. And then Sunday, Wanderers Park it will be for you against the Central Coast Mariners.
Yeah, it's always a good game against Wanderers, so no doubt this Sunday will be no different. So hopefully the Mariners fans will show out and maybe we see a few more signs in the crowd again.
A game of the week for you, Teo?
It is Canberra are contenders week. Can they just win one of these next 2 games? Sydney beat them home and away last season. Could they be the team that finally beats Melbourne City? Either would be a big, big win.
And would see them go to the top of the ladder if they could do the double, Teo. Thank you so much for your time on Dub Zone this week, Teo. Annabel, great to have you in the chair again. Good luck on the weekend against the Wanderers, of course. And good luck to all of you. Get your bums out on the seats at any of the games. Catch them all on Paramount Plus or for free on 10's app. Until next week, I'm Amy Duggan. That's Dub Zone.